Hello, my friends. Today I wanted to talk to you about spirit guides, the many different forms of guides, and more so ways that you can connect with them and also go about finding them if it is your first time interacting with your spirit guides. Spirit guides are spiritual beings which all people have, but only some people are actually connected with. These entities can be incredibly helpful in not only magical practices where you can call upon them and more so get them to help you in your practice, but they are also great companions and life teachers that can teach you lessons and other things throughout your life. Spirit guides are other spiritual entities which have come to work with you and have made the decision to work with you from usually before this life. These are usually just random forms of spirits that you have been connected to, but it's can also be things such as deities and like other wise teachers from history. Like other people will also say that those are their spirit guides and they come and guide them in certain ways every once in a while. But most people don't usually use the term spirit guide to refer to that, but that is another way in which people do use it. First, I want to explain the three main types of spirit guides that sort of breaks down the length of time that they more so been with you. The first one is the soul guide, which is a guide that has been with you through multiple different forms of incarnations on this planet. The first one is the soul guide, which is a guide that has been with you throughout multiple incarnations and will continue to be with you throughout many of your journeys. These guides are usually really close to you. Another form of guide is the lifetime guide. These guides are just guides that are here with you throughout your entire lifetime. So from your birth all the way to your death, they are with you and they will leave you upon your death. The last form of guide is the temporary guide. These are guides that come into your life in order to teach you something and then will leave once that lesson is over. These guides usually only serve to teach their one lesson and are only usually concerned with that lesson, and then after that lesson is completed, they leave. Besides from the different types of guides which I just explained, there are also forms of guides which sort of split them down into what the guides particularly focus on and want to help you with. The first one of these forms of guides is the main or primary guide. This is the guide that is usually over all of your other guides and sort of is the main guide in which you're going to interact with throughout most of your journey. These ones are usually soul guides as well and will be with you through multiple incarnations. Another form of guide is the teacher guide. This guide is usually here to teach you some form of lesson that is more so philosophical or something that you more so have to think through. A way of changing the way in which you're thinking or applying or something like that. They're here to teach you that lesson. Guides can also be a helper guide, which is a guide that is here to help you achieve some form of accomplishment or outcome or something in your life. You could also have a healing guide, which is a guide that is specifically for healing, either physically, mentally, or spiritually. And these guides will either be a temporary guide and come into your life when you have when you get injured or hurt in some way, or will be with you acting as like one of your more so spiritual doctors. You can have a joy guide, which is a guide that is primarily around just to make you happy and to keep you entertained. These guides simply just live for fun and are usually quite energetic and able to be found out by the person who has such a guide very quickly because they want you to more so know that they're around and things like that. You would also be able to have a form of guardian guide, which is just someone that's going to be here to more so protect you, and that's more so their only specific goal is to make sure that you're safe and out of harm's way. You're also able to have a shadow guide, which is going to be a guide that holds shadow aspects of you. These guides are usually here to challenge you and to more so a little bit be a nuisance in your life, but also to teach you lessons of how to get around other inflections that have been put upon you. These guides are usually feared in some way, but it is through learning how to work with them that you get the most out of them. And the last one is a creative guide, which is one that helps inspire you and give you ideas for creating things. And these are the 9 forms of guides in which your spirit guide can take. They may have aspects of multiple of these, but usually they have a main preference for one or the other. Since most people usually have multiple spirit guides, multiple different entities will fill different ones of these roles, coming together in more of a spirit council that will work with you. You may not have every single type or form, and you may also have guides pop in and pop out throughout your life, so you might not have them all at one time. In order to find or connect with your spirit guides, first you are really going to want to go within yourself and more so ask them to appear to you. Once you are ready, they will then appear to you. If they don't appear right away, don't be discouraged, but usually they take some time in their approach to how they want to approach interaction with you in this life. You may have also decided, like before you started living this life, how or when they were going to interact with you, and they may be completely bound to that, so they may not be able to show themselves until then, even though they will be around you. The primary way to go about finding and interacting with your spirit guides is usually through meditation, and usually a form of meditation known as journey meditation. In this form of meditation, you more so meditate and try to visualize a world and moving through that world so that the entities can come and interact with you in that space. That space is actually much like VR here, where you're going to be seeing through your eyes and walking in that sort of space while also not being in that space. If you have the ability to astral project, you would also be able to astral project into the astral and interact with your guides that way. If you can't go through the process of astral projecting or meditating for any form of reason, the best way after that to sort of get in contact with your guides is to go through divination, simply by asking them questions and then doing tarot or runes or bibliomancy or some other form of divination. You will be able to communicate with them through that form of divination. Energy work is also important because you may be able to feel the presences of their energies when they're around once you get to know them more. And that could also be a great way for you to connect with them throughout your communication process. You could also interact with them through dreams if you have the ability to do so. This would be such things as lucid dreaming, or you could simply ask them to appear to you in a dream, but that usually has mixed results based on you remembering it and things like that. Your spirit guides are very important entities, my friends. And by getting to know them and interacting with them and asking them to be with you in your practice and life, you can work with them to do such amazing things. Things that you won't need to use other spirits or other forms of entities for, you can more so connect with them, and that can be your communication with the spiritual world. It's also good for protection in general, because when you're first starting out and if you don't know how to cast a circle and do other forms of shielding or warding, the spirit guides will be able to do it for you and sort of act as guardians, regardless of if they're a guardian spirit guide or not. It's always nice to have someone watching out for you in the spiritual as much as the physical. And these guides can pretty much act as that form of teacher that you would need in your practice. Also, it's important to remember that most people have more than one spirit guide. You may have one, or you can have usually upwards of 9 or 5 or 10. I have not found anyone yet who doesn't have a spirit guide, so I pretty much don't believe it's entirely possible. The process of connecting with them could take many days or even months, or you could even get it in the first 15 seconds. Please give it time no matter what you go through the process of sort of doing and connecting with. When you're connecting with these spiritual entities, you will know if they are your spirit guides because you will be able to feel it. Something inside you will tell you that they are, in fact, your spirit guides. And do not trust anything that you yourself cannot trust. Sometimes the first entity is not your spirit guide, but is simply a stepping stone or a thing to get to your spirit guide. So please go now and connect with your spirit guides or find them if this is your first time. They're already with you. You really just have to open your eyes and look, because they already are connected with you in so many different ways. So many ways that you don't even know about until you start to form that relationship. Okay. Goodbye, my friends. Thank you for listening.